Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. The chasm between select and non-select. Oh man, yo, check it out, right? I was checking out this Alan Roger Curry article on the Negro Manosphere, which all of y'all need to go check out, right? Yeah, just check out the site in general, right? But anyway, I was checking out this article. What's it called? Oh, yeah, the 80-20 rule theory has become more pronounced in the 21st century. And one of the things that Alan Roger Curry does, I mean, he breaks things down, you know? I like how he does it because, well, I break things down too. We just, characterize stuff different, but that's cool because I can actually learn from what he was talking about. And he had divided men into basically four tiers, which is very instructive. You know, he talked about the top 20%, and he divided them into two tiers, right? And that was basically the top tier. Those are guys who can get sex without really doing much. They don't have to offer a woman anything in return other than their bodies, which is cool. Which is cool. And then the second tier, those are guys, you know what, they don't have it as good, but they still have it pretty good. They have to offer a little something, you know. Whereas the guys at the top, all they have to do is just show up at the woman's house or something. Guys in the middle, you know, they might have to take her out for coffee or something. Not necessarily a date, but they got to spend a few hours with her. And then you had like the middle tier guys. Those are like most of the guys out here. They're going to have to offer something in return for the woman. They're going to have to trade off something, you know, have a willingness to work, provide, all that good stuff. And then there's the bottom tier. Man, those guys are just pitiful and everything, right? So anyway, I actually wrote notes for this. Man, and I gotta get used to this camera and stuff. It's like I'm just trying to stare at this little thing right here, keep my eyes straight and all that stuff, right? Anyway, there's a big chasm because if you really look at what's really, I've noticed that chasm like pretty much ever since I really got into this because I was coming from it from the top chasm, and I have no problem saying that. And I would say right now, you know, I'm older now, so I'm kind of not quite at the top tier, kind of in the middle of top tier and that second tier. Reason why I say that is, you know, just a little bit older, so you know, I ain't as cut up as I was when I was younger and stuff, and don't have the motivation to dress as fly. Notice I said as fly. I can still get fly when I need to, but you know, everything else is still there. So with me, a lot of what I do now is mouthpiece, so that means I got at least spend a few hours talking to them. And you know, women see me and they see what I'm doing and everything. So like, I'm one of those like, they're gonna go a little bit harder on because it's like I'm not just a one night stand. It's like, oh wait a minute, he got some potential. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Anyway, the perspective there, what I found when I first came out with my book, Nice Guys and Players, I called them nice guys, but really they were just guys at that bottom tier. And I like that Alan Roger Curry broke that down. They didn't know what I was talking about. They thought was crazy. And I mean, it's a great difference in perception. It's a really big difference in perception, right? Because, you know, to me, it seems easy. It seems like a simple matter that, for example, going down the street, a woman, like I just did a video talking about black women rejecting men harshly. Honestly, I was saying that from the perspective of the outside looking in. I can count on one hand how many times I got rejected harshly. Actually, yeah, one time, right? And even then, it was like, it was more laughable than anything because it didn't happen that often. But then you get but my perspective, overall perspective on women in general is that they generally friendly to me. At the very least, they're going to show interest. You know, my perception is I'm not going to have to work that hard. Like I remember one time a couple years ago, I was talking with this dude, right? And he was talking about how he spent all this money on this woman. I've talked with a few dudes, you know, and they say they didn't get anything. And I'm looking at them like, you spent money on him? Why would you do something like that? You know, seriously. Like I joke about being a cheap bastard, but Fact of the matter is, women didn't require me to spend money. It was just enough. All I had to do was just show up. And I mean, you get some that still call me cheap and everything, but I was like, well, okay, I don't have any money. They still be like, shit, they're breaking out their wallet. Shoot, could have played that gigolo game when I was young if I was so inclined. But I ain't gonna get into that, right? But check it out, though. So I have that perception. I have a perception of, dealing with friends and all of that. I have a perception of women showing up to my place, with nothing on under their, dresses or even their trench coats, right? So, I wrote my book, Nice Guys and Players, from that perspective. But see, then you get a lot of guys, though, they never live that. They don't understand that, right? And I was just like, that's some crazy stuff right there, right? That is some crazy stuff, because then when I say the things that I do, and I actually get some comments where people say, "Oh, that's impossible. That don't happen." That. I'm like, hold up, dude. I was right in the middle of stuff happening like that. Because of my perception. See, one of the things. Let me break what is kind of a chasm too between select and non-select. Like if you whatever anybody wherever they are, it's that thing. Metaphysical types call it the law of attraction, but it's just a matter. You want to click with people who think similar to you. I click with players regardless of their race. In fact, I just saw a friend of mine, guy I worked with a few years ago. I say he's an acquaintance, but he's a white guy, but he's straight up about that game. He's straight up about, checking out the women and stuff. I know a couple of white guys like that. So despite racial differences, maybe even some slight class differences, we had the same general perception about women. So we were able to click. So that's why, different people, like I say people at that bottom tier, they having trouble with women and everything. They're going to click with similar situated men. They're going to click with them. They're going to find them on the internet. They're going to find them in public. Because a guy like that, unless that guy, a guy at that bottom tier, he's not going to really click with a guy at that top tier unless they're relatives. And that's pretty much where they have to be. They pretty much have to be cousins, sometimes even brothers or something, for them to really click with, because they have two totally different perceptions. And the problem with that perception is it's really hard for somebody coming from my perspective or Alan Roger Curry's perspective to really explain stuff to folks, no matter how hard we try. I'm sure he could probably add on to this, but I found, and I even said it in sexual chemistry, but I use the term nice guys, that those were the types who rejected my stuff the most. I mean, they would just say, this is impossible, but then you get some straight up gigolo types, some players, some pimps. They were like, oh yeah, this is some good stuff. So naturally, shoot, I took their I took that thing. Because I'm going to tell you what, to this day, I haven't had any true players read my stuff and say, there's some wrong stuff. This ain't accurate. Because they had the same perception. It was stuff that they thought as well, so they were seeing it reflected. A few even added some stuff. And I'm going to tell you how deep that perception is. When I could do seminars and stuff like that, I could actually I can go in a room and I can pick out the dudes with the same energy. It's incredible, but it's kind of easy. After a while, some Alan Roger Curry said about reading people. I mean, I'm the same way. If I'm around you, that's why I've told people, and I've said this public, if I can see a picture, a lot of times I can tell you a lot. And if I'm in your presence, trust me, I'm reading you. Because I've even had some women say I got eyes that look like it's looking right through them. But that's another video and whatnot, right? But anyway, that chasm. It makes, to be honest, it makes communication hard. It makes communication hard. It makes viewpoints hard, because one of the problems with that is people have a tendency to think their perception is universal. That's everybody. That's everybody. They tend to think everybody is like, it should be self-evident, but it's not. That's one of the reasons why in my life I developed a habit of paying attention to other people's opinions and what they're saying, even if I don't necessarily agree. My feeling is, well, that hasn't been my perception. But I realize that my perception is going to be different from other people. Now, where am I on time? Okay. Had to look up a bit, see where it was and whatnot, right? But, it's the distance is incredible. Because it's literally like two different worlds. That's how deep it is. It's two different worlds. And you know what? Like I said, one of the things I want to do was try to bridge it, try to help people bridge it. But sometimes, because people never had that perception, never had that positive experience with women and stuff, it's hard for them to see it. So, it's just, and I'm not doing this just to even solve it because it's hard. Because I'm going to tell you, the toughest thing in life is to change someone's perception. Let me get a little bit deep thought on this, right? Okay, I got one of my neighbors decide they want to take a shower or something. But let me get a little deep thought on this. Most people, once they develop a belief system, once they develop a perception, it takes major trauma for them to change it. Major trauma for them to change it. Because they don't have any motivation to do so. Right? They don't have any motivation to do so. They think it's the thing to do. And then they get whatever belief system they have, whatever perception they have. They usually have people around them that co-sign, that support it. Because as I said, when you have a certain perception, you tend to seek out similar people who have the same perception. So you're surrounded by people, at least in your private life, in your social life, that's saying the same thing. So you think it is correct. But ultimately, it's hard to really perceive truth. But I'm about to go into the deep thought channel stuff, so I'm going to save that for over there. But just understand, sometimes when you have, I would say, differences between, say, the nice guy and the player, it's just a perception. It's what they see. It's what they experienced. And, one of the things I've tried to do, but it's getting kind of hard, is understand that perception. Just, but I'm from the outside looking in. As far as it is with the, the guys on that bottom tier, right? So, one of the things, and I'll probably come back in another video. I got to think about some things. I got some stuff. Might have to go in a different direction and everything. But, just understand that it's there. And sometimes, you get some conflict and everything. It don't need to be there. It's just a matter of like, what? They going to talk from their experience. It's not that they wrong. Because you can't tell somebody they're wrong in their perception. Or you can tell them is like, well, I didn't experience it like that. And you know what? Perhaps, the guys at the bottom tier, if they understand this, and if a guy's watching this, they know they at the bottom tier. You know what? Just listen. Sit down and listen or watch the other guys. Just change how you think. And trust me, it could help out a whole lot. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to you later. Peace.